You know, Andrew, when the company was first founded, we never envisioned being a global company. We were so excited about the concept and the potential of it just in the United States that we got busy building, and we really were a one country at a time company. It wasn't designed to be a global or international enterprise, but we first had the experience in Taiwan, and it was a fabulous experience, and we were kind of forced to go there by the tremendous momentum and success of the people. And in the last year, the world has been discovering us, and we're no longer the best kept secret. And it's kind of made us wake up and realize that there's a much greater opportunity out there, that yes, we can change the way people shop, but we can also change the world economically with this program of creating our own economy. And it's just kind of blown up. So we had to retool. We had to go back to the drawing board and rethink things, how we do our websites, how we do our tracking, our infrastructure, and just about everything. And over the last year, there's been a tremendous metamorphosis and transition, and now we're ready. We're ready to go global, and I think we have a program that addresses every aspect of expansion and being able to be a global enterprise.
It's an exciting time.
It sure is. So what we're going to do today is a little laborious. We're going to go through how the whole program works from A to Z. And it's kind of like seeing the marketing plan for the first time, the unfranchised business presentation, the MPCP. You're not going to get it all at one time. You'll get the gist of it, and you have to see it a few times for the light bulbs to really go off. And that's why we're providing this webinar, and so that people can review it, again and again and again. So let's just get started and dive in. And this is really about becoming a global opportunity with the Unified Global MPCP. And what we have already done is to unify the Americas, and you'll hear that referred to as UAM, for Unified America, and it's referred to in a lot of the literature. Today we're just going to say Americas, and that's the United States, Canada, Mexico, and coming soon, South America. You'll learn that our EMP program already includes Costa Rica, Ecuador, Colombia, and it's all unified into one MPCP. Just like all the states in America are in one MPCP in United States, all these countries are now in one BV bank and one plan. And we're also unifying Europe, and that'll be referred to as UEU. And that includes United Kingdom, and now Spain is a EMP and will soon be a country, and it'll expand from there. And then we'll have the Americas, Europe, and now Asia Pacific. Unifying Asia Pacific would include Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Australia to start. And we have EMPs of Singapore and New Zealand to start, but that'll just keep growing as time goes on. And the neat thing about this is that we combine the BV and the IBV of all countries together to accrue into one plan where needed. And Andrew's always kind of been my partner and my clone, and he's seen this a couple times, but on some of these aspects you even know more about it than me. So I'm going to let you expand on this a little bit in a minute. But this allows unfranchised owners with a large organization and many unfranchised owners in other regions to earn on their BV or IBV again in the regions in which they're building with their Unified Global Center, which we call UGC, and from each UFO accruing BV to earn in the new region, while at the same time they are going to complete their home country top BDCs by building in the other region. Right. It's actually going to complete what they had started at home and ensuring a really secure and stable business and organization at home while they're able to multiply their income by expanding into other countries. So it's really revolutionary. I kind of feel as excited about this as I did when we created the binomial system, the binary system, and the MPCP.
I think that's the reason for doing this too, because the first time you do start to, once this is presented, it takes a little while to kind of comprehend the concepts here. But being able to kind of unify the Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific does simplify things quite a bit, because no longer do we have to have separate BV values for each individual country. So that's the first concept in unifying those regions in order to be able to tie it together. We're going to go through that here.
Exactly. And within a region, every country was a separate plan.
Right.
And now they're all one. So,
combined.
The MPCP, Global Connecting Binomial Unification International Reentry Centers. That's a mouthful. That's like oligomeric proanthocyanidins, right? But it is absolutely revolutionary. Nobody's ever done it. It's like next level matrix. It's like putting the MPCP on steroids. It's like the atomic energy in our marketing plan. Right. And so it's a revolutionary new global unification plan, weaving the BV and IBV banks from the two regions, right? Well, we're going to start with two, America and Europe, and we're going to use that example. But weaving them together where each UFO needs it to complete centers and earn more. So they're not spreading themselves thin. They're actually going to be able to go there, and that region's all unified, but whatever they build there is able to be tied back to their home country where they need it to finish what they started. So re-entry in the new region enables you to earn commissions in the new country, okay, and tie it back to the weak side of a BDC that you're working to complete your BDCs in the home country. And fundamentally, it allows you to earn on a new center that you started in that region, but at the same time complete an existing one in your home country. So it leverages your earning power, encourages synergistic teamwork based on the binary strategy, and everybody wins. So it works very similar to re-entries actually in the MPCP, and everybody likes to relate anything that new that they hear to something they're already familiar with. And so that's a really good analogy. It works very similar to re-entries in the MPCP, but with two IBV-BV banks, which allows building together as a team and a strong leg, but you're able to actually connect it back to the BV-IBV bank of the weak leg in your home country. It's phenomenal. Now, that takes a while to sink in.
Right. Well, you're going to be going through these diagrams, which will definitely clear it up as you present it. So, but right now it's not that way. Right now, if you're going to grow into another country, that volume in the other country is not going to benefit your home business. Right. In this new plan, it will. Which is a real resistance factor or impediment to go into another country. Absolutely. Yeah. If you build there, you might make some more money there, but you left what you started back at home unfinished. Right, it's expensive to travel, and it's not contributing back to your home business. So the MPCP Global Connecting Binomial Unification International Reentry Centers, or the IRCs, International Reentry Centers, are an amazing thing. You need to understand how they work. They're basically like a reentry. But every unfranchised owner immediately, right now, is provided with an IRC, an International Reentry Center. So when this program starts, okay, everybody will have in their back office a international reentry. So the components of the Global Unified MPCP, are quite comprehensive. It covers everything from A to Z that you could possibly want to do with the business, and you understand this very well. Sure. Well, of course, when everybody starts their unfranchised business, they have 3 business development centers, and they can earn re-entries, as time goes on, as their business develops. So everybody already has a home country. That's the first given, and they're building something there. Correct. And then everybody's going to have an IRC, which they can access through their unfranchised business account and place it in their organization, which we're going to show them in just a few minutes. Of course, remembering that there's 3 regions, all unified: the Americas, Europe, and soon to be Asia Pacific. And everybody will have a global.shop.com website. Right. Okay. And that's going to enable us to sell our company brands into over 220 countries.
So that reaches everywhere. We don't even need to be in that country or have any type of program whatsoever. Anywhere Federal Express ships and the country's laws allow that product to be shipped, say, by an Amazon or something,
correct,
we can ship it there.
Correct. And that volume that's created based on those transactions made through your global.shop.com site will contribute toward your home business.
Right. So fundamentally, the shipping and tariffs or whatever are paid, and whatever's left, you're left with, and you get the BV or IBV.
Exactly.
You know, moving back to the unification of regions, I think it's important to understand that there's a reason why the countries are together in a region and why we divided it into three. You know, in a region where you have a solid land mass and a common culture and a lot of interaction of people, there's a natural osmosis between the countries, a flow of people, flow of money, cultures, people know each other, and there's a lot of human traffic back and forth and communication anyway. But when you go across the ocean to a totally different continent and totally different culture, and the expense of doing that, it kind of separates it.
Right.
So you find out very quickly, like in America, when you start talking to Mexican Americans or Mexicans, they're already interacting, and then you talk to some Latinos, and everybody knows somebody in another country. They're interacting. They have relatives there, so it's very natural. Same thing in Europe.
Sure.
Everybody is, you know, the countries in Europe are kind of like the size of states, and some of them have different languages, but they have a common economic platform. With the European Union, incredible transportation, and their cultures kind of blend together, you know. And then in Asia, it's also the same thing. It's all kind of connected in a way. But when somebody goes to build from United States to Asia or United States to Europe, there's a very distinct separation between those things. So it makes sense to combine the ones that are together to aggregate and combine all that BV from any action or business development that occurs to increase the probability of earning checks.
Amen. No, it's great. So the bottom line is, I think you said this before, but the 2 to 3 year plan becomes accelerated based on this new international program that we've.
Well, I didn't say that before, but I should have, and you're absolutely right. You know, if you want to get to the end of the whole story, the end of the whole story is this makes it much easier and faster to complete the 2 to 3 year plan. So what about EMPs, Andrew?
So, you know, a new program that we've initiated is our Emerging Markets Program, or EMP. And this enables us to basically develop the business into countries where we don't have necessarily a fulfillment center in our operations like we've done in the past. So as we identify EMP countries into different regions, people in our existing market countries, Market America, Market Taiwan, Market Australia, et cetera, will be able to sponsor unfranchised owners into the designated EMP countries. So
as contrasted against the global system where you're selling into a country, here you're actually able to sponsor into that country and they can earn in the MPCP.
Right, and those people that you sponsor into an EMP country, they have an unfranchised business, they have access to their own unfranchised business account, they all have a global.shop.com website, and they can develop their left and right business and earn commissions based on the volume being created and accumulating.
And that would flow back to that region's BV banks. So if you're in that region or have a global, that would be helping you earn checks.
Exactly. So a quick example, I'm here in Florida. I have somebody who wants to come into the business in Colombia. I can sponsor them in the business because Colombia is an EMP country. The business volume that's created in Colombia with this new person that I've sponsored and the people that person leads to and the volume created contributes to my business here in the United States because it's part of the Americas region.
Right. So it's like adding to a leg here.
Right.
And I know that you're also in the UK, so you're in the European market. If you had somebody that knew someone in Spain, which is an EMP, that would feed into those centers.
Same process,
right.
Same exact scenario.
And one of the things that fascinates me is this partner now waiting room program, because you know how I am about building fast and then doing the ABC pattern or doing trial runs, and then you have difficulty connecting the people. You got to stop. This kind of solves that at a distance sponsoring, how do I sign them up problem, right?
Without question. It's completely simplified the process of enabling people to establish their unfranchised business on their own. So there's no hesitation, there's no waiting to get somebody started and get them established so they can then log into their unfranchised business account and then register somebody else. It's just a process where multiple people can establish their business at once, and then you can go into your unfranchised business account, into the waiting room, designate the sponsorship and the placement, how it should be into your organization.
So it gives you control over it.
Absolute control, and it's much easier and faster to grow.
So people may be selling globally with the globalshot.com, and we see activity there, and immediately they want it to be an EMP. But the way it really works is the company makes a determination on its own assessment and investigation into the potential, the ease of entry, the economic and political factors, the size of the market, the demand of the products, and the level of the seeding penetration. How many builders have prospects there. Mm-hmm. And it's just a subjective thing that you got to weigh. You just can't go into everywhere we sell a product.
Right. Well, I think both programs, JR, the global.shop.com scenario that we have available and the EMP countries we've initially identified, we're going to be able to measure and monitor the activity being created, the business being generated in those areas, and then we can make determinations as to whether to establish fulfillment centers and operations in those areas. But it's nice in that we can still develop business, create business volume to contribute toward our business already.
Right. So fundamentally, if you know somebody in Portugal or India, you have people that want to order there, you can do that. But that doesn't mean necessarily that we're going to go immediately in there. But on the other hand, if somebody has connections with some connectors or experienced people that have a following, that might be a reason to go into a country very quickly.
And all will be taken under consideration,
right,
as we move forward.
Okay, so the EMP kind of seeds the country, and we ship directly to them from one of our fulfillment centers, whether it be in the UK or the US. Right. And as the country grows, Market America may put inventory or a fulfillment center into that country. And the sponsoring UFO, of course, is accredited with the BV and IBV, and that gives people a reason to start building there, right, because the people on the ground are earning money.
Right.
And so it's a natural progression, is the point, to become a country. And that's where the global interregional unification and connecting the regions and IRC cross-pollination becomes very important. I mean, imagine having the EMP or the global system, but then it could never connect and synergize or be absorbed into your organization or your business.
Right. Well, this is why they're going to say how it's atomic energy.
Right. So the global system allows every UFO to cross-pollinate in another region from their home country's region using the International Reentry Center. And it operates like a normal BDC, similar to a reentry, when it's placed in a country in other regions other than their home country. And it solves the lack of incentive or the negative incentives to cross-pollinate and expand in other regions or countries around the world. I mean, just ask yourself, why didn't you put somebody in Europe? Why didn't you put somebody in Australia? Or why didn't you put somebody in Taiwan? We have all the reasons. Yep. You have a lot of good reasons.
Yep. In fact, we'll go over.
But now, and then the upline, if the upline or a successful senior partner doesn't have a reason to go there or an organization there, and they're not going to be there, it's very difficult for a lower level distributor to get started there.
That could happen, sure.
So the whole thing's just kind of stymied. And this eliminates a lot of that. So it solves the lack of incentives, and it eliminates the barriers of resistance to enter other countries and regions. that the Global Center had because it required activation and finding 2 qualified distributors. And I might even have some action there, but where am I going to get another one? Because I don't know anybody there.
That's the main thing, Jeremy, because I think people in the United States, as an example, I mean, somebody might know one person in London, as an example, that could be great in the business. But in order for them to capitalize on that, they have to pay the subscription, qualify a center, and sponsor them. But in doing so, it's not going to do anything to put more money in their pocket or for them to earn commissions unless they find somebody else in this case, right, in London in the United Kingdom. So it's very difficult to earn, the way it currently is. So this whole new strategy and this whole new compensation system solves all the challenges, all the problems, and provides all the incentives to move forward.
And at the end of the day, what you're going to find is more of your team can and will participate, and there's going to be very motivated business builders, senior partners that are going there that will want you to join their team. So the components of the Global Unified MPCP, just putting this in order, they're allowing each UFO to add BV or IBV to complete a weak side of the BDC, where each individual UFO needs to work to increase commissions until it maxes out at $2,100 to $3,600 a week. And this may be different for each individual UFO. So one size doesn't fit all. I need it one place, he needs it another place, you need it another place. Everybody can custom match it to what they need. And at the same time, they are able to build a new BDC and with their IRC to earn commissions in the new region while it counts to finish the home country's BDCs. And they build BV and IBV credit to earn additional residual income on multiple IRCs placed by their organization in other regions. So it's just not going to be you. You're going to, if you have a large organization, there's going to be many people doing it, and you're going to earn off of the binomial MPCP accumulation of that volume too in a UGC. And you can actually work to earn 3 times indirectly off the building of an IRC. Now that's phenomenal. It takes a little bit of study to understand it, but it's powerful.
And you'll show them an example.
Right, we're going to show them
that.
So it allows for many team synergistic strategies to work together, which didn't exist before.
Right.
You don't hear anybody talking about it because the economic incentives and synergies aren't there to put together strategies. And here they are. And the new region will, kind of solves the downside of builders not having the incentive to help UFOs complete their weak side of the BDC in their home country. It's just miraculous. So the global opportunity really does change the dynamics. And this is a quick overview. You need to understand these principles before we dive into the diagrams. Because there's no incentive, the senior partners upline do not expand into global markets. And this is going to change that dynamic. Former Global Center program had barriers and entry to entry, which required one to be an executive coordinator, to register a Global Center, to qualify with 200 BV, and to personally sponsor 2 distributors, 1 in each leg in the new country or region. And so that was a lot, and a lot of people just weren't ready to do it, or they didn't have the people there, so why take the risk? The lower level distributors, on the other hand, prefer to complete the BDC of a weak leg that they're working so hard on, or are worried about, because that's the way the plan works. And it's in their home country. It's less expensive because there's not enough support to get traction in the new market. They're going to stay at home. And with previous programs, there simply was not enough incentive for most distributors to invest the time, effort into global expansion. The upper level unfranchised owners were reluctant to expand on the new region with a weaker leg at home incomplete. Even their people didn't want them to go. Right. Don't leave me here, right? We're not done, so I need your help. So the upper level UFO felt that they were spreading themselves thin, and the lower level distributor felt abandoned. And so the global opportunity changes this dynamic. And here's an overview of how it eliminates the barriers and bridges the gaps to stimulate growth. So if the upper level UFO did not have at least 2 good people and lots of contacts already in the new region or country, it didn't make economic sense to cross-pollinate into building the new region. And the upper level UFO or leader, if they weren't going, it precluded the lower level distributor from cross-pollinating and referring people because it was self-defeating. There was nobody to show the plan and nobody to help them get started or nobody to help them build. Now, the conclusion is, and we'll give you the conclusion before we show you how it works, just like the 2 to 3 year plan in the beginning of the plan. This is what's going to change. The unified global MPCP will change those dynamics by reducing the resistance and obstacles to expand globally and creating new opportunities to earn more while strengthening the organization. It does it both. It just doesn't remove the obstacles. It creates powerful synergies and a lot more economic leverage. So we start by unifying countries, in a region, and then we connect the regions. So in this discussion of how it works, the global opportunity fundamentally changes the dynamics, and you have to watch it just like you watch the plan. You can't explain it, you got to see it, you got to draw it out. And so this is a key to terminology for the diagrams that we're going to be using so that we don't get tongue-tied and have conflicting terms. But BV and IBV will both be credited globally. However, for the purpose of this presentation, only BV is indicated. And IBV behaves exactly the same simultaneously, so we're just going to say BV.
Right, just go with BV here.
And for the purpose of presentation, the 2 regions being used are the Americas and Europe. You'd always be connecting 2 regions. You can't connect 3 at once, you connect 2 at once. So the purpose of this presentation, the 2 regions being used are America and Europe. So the Americas, of course, is technically called the Unified American MPCP or market, UAM, and you'll see Europe referred to as UEU, but we're going to say Americas and Europe.
Otherwise you get tongue-tied.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the Americas and Europe.
And it sounds like computer code or something after a while, But the Americas are your home country. Everybody has a home country in this concept. You can't do this or be in the business without a home country. And then there's the new region that you want to cross-pollinate into. So Europe is a new region here.
Perfect.
So let's take a look at the current growth model that everybody's familiar with. It's a typical development of a distributorship in the United States or Americas, and you're building 2 legs. Sometimes something starts to spring off another leg, but fundamentally that's the way it is. So an example of a current genealogy of a high-level distributor might look something like this. They've got a very strong 001, and their 002 and 003 are earning $1,500 to $2,100 a week, every week or some of the time. Right. And their top centers, in other words, are becoming complete and maxing out. So the high-level distributors max out and have no monetary incentive to keep building their legs. Now, the reason we're going through this is very important to understand why we just can't have one BV bank, why that doesn't work, and why our current system of a transparent overlay in every country and using your organization to get new distributors and customers in those countries so that you can use the same organization to earn another check in that BV bank, why that is limited compared to this. So the current growth model, an example of a current genealogy of a lower level distributor, would look something like this. They start to build their weaker leg, and they put some new UFOs in there, and they're trying to complete that leg. So the lower level distributors are focused on building their weak side and are unable to expand globally. So what about the upper level distributor over them? Why don't they do it? Well, if you think about it, if their top centers are already filled, or already earning, and they already have close to 5,000 BV per week, if you unify everything and that BV rolls up, it's rolling up into completed centers and they don't earn anything.
Earn any more than what they were already earning.
It's overflow. So there's really no economic incentive to go there. They're not going to make more. So this is why it doesn't work for leaders and builders. If you look in the middle, there 3 top centers. The banks are pretty filled with BV from other countries, I mean, or BV from wherever they have people. Right. So if we were expanding in Europe and made it all one BV bank, it doesn't support the home country business development. The new growth in BV in the new continent or new region doesn't earn them more money, because the leaders at the top, as you can see, already have completed their centers and are earning $2,100 or $3,600 a week. So it's more expensive to go transcontinental or across the ocean, and they're better off just building a new BDC at home rather than going there. So if the leader does not go, the lower level distributor doesn't cross-pollinate either, because they have nobody to show the plan or to help them get the people started. Right. So it's just kind of stymied. So this is why we have the transparent overlay with the same genealogy in different countries right now. You use your current organization in one country to cross-pollinate and find people in the new country or region to build new business. And this is exactly what happened in Taiwan and Hong Kong. A little bit of a misnomer though, because our organization grew to be about 20 or so percent Asian or Taiwanese and people from Hong Kong. They knew people over there, and they already had relatives and friends, and they were already on the product. And so it was a little bit different because they already kind of had a base of people and people that were ready to get in over there, and multiple teams in the U.S. that were willing to go over there because they had a common interest. So you use your organization to cross-pollinate in another region. It fills in the banks of your same genealogy, but a different BV bank earning a different check in that region. But it requires a global BDC. So unless you have the people, you might be hesitant to do it. And it takes a subscription fee in that country. You have to activate, which means you need to find 2 people. And if your team finds people there at the same time, and you can use them to do that, you'll earn a second commission check. Okay? But the truth of the matter is, it's just not that easy. You and your genealogy transparently exist in all countries, and if your team cross-pollinates there, you can build new volume there to earn money. Those banks there with the same genealogy using the same people start to fill up, and you can earn checks again. So you use your organization in another country to cross-pollinate and find people in the new country or region, and this is what was done in Taiwan and Hong Kong, but it's not as easy as it seems for people unless they have a situation like some of the Chinese leaders had. So it requires, a global BDC and a subscription fee for activating. And if your team finds people there, you can earn a second check. But if they don't, you're not going to earn. So you have a BDC not earning every week or is maxed out. If it's not maxed out, because of a weak side in your home country, it's more practical to finish the BDC at home than it is to go start one over there, because it's not going to add to it. Right. So it's just not that easy. So there's got to be a better way. But this is why we have the transparent overlay, same genealogy with separate MPCPs and BV, IBV banks in each country right now. And you have to designate a BDC-01, you have to pay a subscription fee, you have to activate and personally sponsor distributors left and right, and the business development does not contribute to the home country. That's the kicker.
Yeah, they're all impediments, right, to actually moving forward, even if you did have a connection in another country, another region. So it's time to change the dynamics.
Change the dynamics.
Change the strategy.
So we've been spending the last year on this, and this is one of those breakthroughs, those epiphanies that came to us, and it's just a miraculous, solution to turn that problem into power. And that's what we're going to show you. So
everybody has an IRC, or will have an IRC, or International Reentry Center. Once again, they can access through their unfranchised business account, and they can designate the placement of that IRC in their existing organization. So it's going to make the most sense to place the IRC on the weak side of a business development center that they're currently developing.
Exactly, and there's no barriers to entry. Everybody can be in the game.
Everybody's in the game, immediately.
So let's look at how it happens. The new global unified MPCP. So you have your American organization, you obviously have a weak side, and this IRC that you have in your back office, you can strategically place it on a weak leg. There's going to be strategies and teamwork and different things to consider with your senior partner and your team, and maybe your organization.
Right. So just think about it just like a reentry. It's a business development center, and you're placing it into your organization. As you can see in the example here, down the right side of your 003 in an open placement, and you see here's where your IRC is.
So that IRC, like a reentry, is really in Europe with a different bank, okay? But it's being connected to your organization. So when you start to build, you're building at the IRC just like a reentry to earn a check in it. So you're building in Europe. You may not even have gone there. You may have gotten some of the people in, and you're on a team that's doing it, or you may be over there working it. Right. Doesn't matter if it's one leg or two legs in the beginning, okay? Because Europe is now going to be connected to America. So that IRC is connected to your weak leg, just like a re-entry, and the volume, the BV, it converts at a connection point where you connect it in the weak leg, and it flows up and accumulates into your 001 and 002 till you earn 2,100 or 3,600 per week.
Right, so your IRC ultimately is that connection point. And so by placing the IRC, then personally sponsoring just say one person in Europe, in the European region, that volume that's being created, of course, will count for the IRC, but it's going to convert back and count for the Americas, or the volume contributing toward your home region.
Exactly. Two different banks, but it gets converted into US BV or American BV, feeding that leg, just like you were building in America.
Right, and currently, if we stay with the current plan, it wouldn't make any sense to personally sponsor somebody in Europe because it wouldn't impact the growth of your home country business. In order to capitalize on it, you have to grow that one side, then personally sponsor somebody else on the other side and grow. Right. This solves that.
And even if you have one leg in Europe, it's still going to feed the weak side in America and complete it, so you would earn there. But if you get two legs, you're going to earn in Europe too.
Even better.
Okay, so taking a look at this again, okay, you start an IRC, place it in Europe, connect it to the weak side in America. The BV flows up, okay, connects, and everybody in between gets credit too. And so you're earning in Europe and you're earning in America. So let's take a look at it again. There's where it connects. It flows up. You can earn a maximum of 2,100 to 3,600 per week using the European BV, which earns on its own there, but it also, just like in the plan with a re-entry, feeds up to your 001, 002, and 003 to help them earn.
Right, the converted volume from Europe back to the Americas also counts for each person up the line, which is on your weaker side in this example, and of course including the right side.
And that's amazing. You know, here it is in Europe. You're building in Europe, and there's action there, and it's connecting back, and they're seeing their BV go up. That puts them closer to checks. A lot of times it motivates them to move, and a lot of times they'll get in the game with you.
And they might know people in Europe.
Exactly, and that gives them a reason to do it because you're over there.
Right.
The more you understand it, the more excited you get. So connecting the regions, okay, let's see how it fits together. These are the steps of the global unification. Everyone begins building their unfranchised BDC in their home country. In the process, everyone has a BDC with a weaker side or leg. It's just the nature of the business. or a new BDC. If they just completed 2, they're now working on a new one, they're opening a new one, and they intend to begin building that. So that's where their focus is. And you can now build in other countries with your home region, and the BV combines into one plan and BV bank, making it potentially easier to complete and secure BDCs faster. Right. So this gives a reason to cross-pollinate with an international re-entry IRC to earn twice on your efforts. You place IRC in a country in another region to help finish your BDCs at home faster, while at the same time it works to earn money and commissions on the IRC in the new region. And you're working to earn 2 checks at once, working smarter rather than harder. So the same amount of building is going to produce you 2 potential checks. We call that a double whammy, right? There's one global transparent genealogy in the computer for all countries and regions, and it's a placeholder to preserve the genealogy linkage. So if people are added in one country and not the other, they would appear in the genealogy of both countries to keep the continuity of the, of the linkage.
One network, one genealogy.
Right, and 2 different banks.
Right.
So you build 1 to 2 sides of an IRC to add BV to the weak side of your home country BDC to increase weekly commissions until they're at $2,100 to $3,600 a week. And a UFO on the same side, upline, benefits from the accrual of the same BV, like you just said.
Right. Everybody up the line gets the credit.
Exactly. And that's powerful. Everybody knows the effect of placing volume or placing people down below in a leg and how everybody benefits in the vertical system.
Right.
So the UGC, Universal Global Center, is another concept that we're going to come back to, but it's important to throw it in here, that in addition to the IRC, your top center in the transparent genealogy is a UGC, a Universal Global Center, which enables you to be credited with the volume from another country on everyone in your organization that's cross-pollinating with IRCs and building in that region. Right now we're just dealing with your IRC and how it connects back, but what happens when other people do that? Well, we'll be explaining that a little later.
We'll show that later, yeah.
So let's take a look at how it develops, okay? Every UFO has a home country, and your genealogy begins there and is your foundation. However, your organization can exist in every region transparently. I mean, your genealogy is already there. So if you just look at that, even though you see your genealogy as one, and it is one, it exists transparently exactly the same in both countries. And anything that happens in one country reflects in the other, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Okay, so BV in each region is separate and accrues separately in each, to earn separate checks in each region. But there is one transparent genealogy, even though you're earning in a separate region. Right. The cool thing about having 2 banks is that all of a sudden it makes things possible that were never possible before. And we're going to see that as it develops, because we can take that separate bank and apply it to a weak leg in this scenario to cause a greater earning potential in the U.S. Because everybody knows you got a weak leg and nobody's going to help you build it.
Right.
You know, so that scenario changes in Europe or in another region, and you're able to tie it back. So 2 identical transparent genealogies that mirror each other with separate BV banks, but BV can grow separately in the BV banks in different regions, but be connected back where you need it. Okay, so taking a look at how this actually happens. Okay, you have success at home first, and then you expand into a different region to reach new markets. And an IRC is a BDC, like a re-entry placed in the new region, in this case Europe, and connected back to the Americas. And there's a placeholder in the home country where it connects back to preserve the genealogy linkage. So it's still a mirror image. Even though the person came in Europe, there's a placeholder in the U.S., so when somebody else comes in the U.S., they're the next step down in the genealogy. So when we place our IRC in Europe, okay, we're starting the business there, and we connect it back strategically to the most beneficial spot in the plan in the home country. And this is usually the weak side of an unfinished BDC. There's a few exceptions, but that's the main deal. So we start building in Europe, and there may be a team building with you. And that's cross-pollination. We've cross-pollinated, and as an organization starts to grow, whenever a new BDC is created, it's reflected in the home country genealogy. Okay, so that volume is really in Europe, but it's really connected to your...
Once again, it's one network. One network, you see the business development centers.
So there goes the BV rolling up, accumulating. When an IRC is placed in a new region, it must be connected back to the home country, left or right side of a BDC, where the BV created from the new region where the IRC is accumulating will connect back and transfer the BV and convert it to home country BV. So that's what that red arrow is there. So now it's connected back, and that, as you see, flowed up all the way to the top, everybody getting credit, and it completing your 001, or maybe your 001 was completed and you needed it to complete your 002, it would do that. And the cool thing about this is that volume now can be used for the UGC, and you'll see later on that it flows back over there. Okay, so connecting regions with BV, let's look at the flow of BV and the actual accrual of volume up the organizational, in a live fashion. Now, when we say live, it means the actual people on the ground building the business there. The BDCs in either region, the Americas, which is your home country, or Europe, which is the target region with the IRC in it, and how they connect to earn commissions there. The IRC unifies and connects to the other region, the home country, and converts or transfers to the home country or region's BV banks and continues to flow to complete the BDC with the weak side. This allows you to earn 2 checks then for your efforts, one in the target region and one in the home country. So the live BDCs are added in America. They continue to accrue BV up to the next American BDC. So even though you built in Europe, and that's been added to the genealogy, people will continue to build below that in America. And this kind of shows that. The bright red on the right is your live centers in Europe, where you put your IRC that you're working to earn a check, and that's reflected in America. But your organization continues on below that in America. People are continuing to build. So the red BDCs in the new region of Europe are shown as transparent placeholders in the linkage genealogies in the home country, and when people continue sponsoring, that would be below that. And you can see that the BV now is going to roll up.
The volume still flows up.
Exactly. So there's 2 flows of BV there now. The one in America didn't stop building either. So you can accrue European BV under your IRC in Europe to earn a check in the new region too, and you earn twice on the same BV because it's connected back. So the IRC is connected in America, MPCP, to complete a leg in the BDC, in the American plan. And the IRC is like a re-entry, accruing European BV in the new region, MPCP, and because it's a separate bank, you're going to get a separate check, but then it also connects back to account for the US or America, rolling up to help you earn on the 001 or 002. So you're really working to earn 2 checks for the same effort. Right? So the IRC from America is placed by a distributor to build in Europe. And the accrued European volume earns commissions in the European BDC or IRC. Okay, and then that volume flows up. You can see the green lines, it flows up, it flows back over, and then it flows up to the 001. So the 001 The IRC 001 placed in Europe is accumulating BV or IBV in Europe to earn a check there. It crosses over to America, it connects to the American plan, rolls up there, and you're able to earn again. But from that connection point, it only accrues up BDCs of the home country region that it's connected into. It doesn't accrue up on the other side in Europe, it accrues up there. Okay, so here's the key description points or action points, the documentation. Additional IRCs and placement information and rules. IRCs may only be placed anywhere below or downline of your 001 and your genealogy in the new region Europe. And it's connected back to the home country Americas in the same time, in the same line of sponsorship to the address of the existing BDC on the left side or the right side. So it has to be on the left or right to an address. And if it is not otherwise designated, it'll be connected to the same location it is placed. It can be placed upline or downline in the same line, but must be designated at the time of placement. It can never be changed for any reason at all, as it affects everyone else's genealogy linkage, and it's impossible. It's kind of like when somebody comes in, they don't get a supervisory entry in the old days. That couldn't be put in later because it would change the genealogy. So it can be placed and you can begin selling and recruiting, but will not accrue BV on others until it qualifies with 200 BV, that IRC. So
you just qualify the center with 200 BV.
Same way the MPCP works in the US.
And just like a re-entry.
Right, exactly. IRC follows the same rules as a regular MPCP in 5 steps. It behaves exactly as a re-entry. And when the IRC qualifies the 001 to 003 and reserves the UGC, but not turned on until it's met these requirements. So when you place your IRC and qualify, the UGC in Europe is reserved, and it gets turned on. You must be a coordinator in the home country, and we'll show you this in a minute. You must have 1,200 home country BV in the left and right banks, and the BDC 001 must exceed 5,000. You must complete it first before volume starts going back, because that's subjective.
Right, you'll show that.
Right. So, and by the way, all of this, we don't expect you to get in one run. There's this PowerPoint presentation is available to you at this link. Okay, we're having a webinar that's regularly run, and that's why we're doing it right now. And there's a meeton.com regular interactive session with questions and answers that's available to you, and you can see the schedule for
There'll be, of course, more communications, and we'll have different trainings, and we'll just, educate as we move
forward. Repeat. Right. Okay, so the unified MPCP genealogy works like this. So American BV only counts for American MPCP, and the European BV only counts for the MPCP, except at the connection point. At the home country Americas, at the point the BV accrues up the Americas MPCP to your 001, and also accrues for the American BDC in between. Everybody gets credit all the way up to your 001. So if you take a look at it here, the additional BDCs under the IRC 001 in blue that are in Americas would accumulate up the IRC 001 on the right side to your 003 and your 001. So it jumps over those centers that don't have banks, which are placeholders, and it continues to flow up all the way, each person getting credit to the 001 as the diagram shows. Okay, so when you connect regions by cross-pollinating with an IRC, you're earning in the other region, but you're also building at home at the same time.
Correct.
So the distributor, you, places an IRC on the weak side. The European BV created below the IRC accumulates in the left and right banks toward earning commissions in the European MPCP, but the group business volume of all of that action is converted to American BV and flows up the leg, but every single one of those people in between, it flows through their banks and they get credit for it, and it ends up at the top, and your top centers So the IRC number 1 building that has actually fed your 002, and you can earn 2,100 to 3,600 a week on your American centers and the 1 and the 2, and 1,500 to soon 3,600 in the European Center 2 when IBV is added shortly. So you can see it rolled up there, it connects and converts, and it rolls the rest of the way up. So the organization can grow faster by connecting globally and helping those under you do the same. And when you duplicate this and other people do it, it has a multiplier effect. And they can do the same from Europe. You see how the BV flows up here on the left. The European Distributor B, and your European organization places an IRC in Mexico. So you can have somebody that you got in Europe under your IRC, who's a real person there building the business, that did exactly what you did. They place an IRC in America.
Right, in the Americas region. And
they start building. In this case, we're saying it's Mexico.
Right.
And so they start building that. And the blue centers under the IRC 001, we're going to call this person Tom, are placeholders for the linkage in the European plan and genealogy from Tom's IRC placed in America and new BDCs that are added. So whatever's going on in America from him placing that is going to be reflected over in his genealogy there. But the point is, he's connected it to his IRC. And the American BV accrues to Tom's IRC 001 toward earning commissions in America, just like you're earning commissions in Europe.
Correct.
Okay? And Tom connects his American IRC back to Europe, to his European MPCP on the weak side, just like you did in reverse, of his original European 003, because that's the weak side, to complete the BDC in Europe and to also earn commissions there based on BV. So it's flowing up in America for you. The business that he's starting in America or Mexico are real people, so that's flowing up the MPCP. It's flowing back to Europe for him, you can see by the green line. It flows up to his 001 center to cause him to earn, which flows up to your IRC 001, which flows back to your connection point, which goes all the way up to your 001. And you can see the money bags there. He earned in Mexico, he earned in Europe, you earned in Europe, it connected back, and you're earning on your, completing your 001 and 002. Pretty phenomenal.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
A lot going on, but it's all accumulating and feeding.
It's all connected, and it's all contributing toward their home country business, home region business. That's great.
It's a little mind-boggling when you think that it goes both directions, but that multiplies it, and that synergistic effect is like a generator, if you will.
Once again, enabling you to complete the 2 to 3 year plan faster.
That's the bottom line. So what happens after you complete your first IRC? I wonder what happens, Andrew. Just like re-entries, when you complete IRC, first IRC, and it cycles at 5,000 and 5,000 BV, you earn a second IRC. What does that sound like? Re-entries?
Yep.
And in this example, you placed in line with your next weak side or new leg that you plan to build. Well, you completed your 001 and your 002, and you have a weak side on your 003. So that's a logical spot. You're going to place it on the other side. So looking at this, it's exactly the same thing that we do with a re-entry. You had your IRC 001, you built that out, it connected, you earned in Europe, you earned in America, now you get a second IRC. You place it in your next weak leg where you're going to build, and it connects back just like you did with the IRC 001.
Right.
Okay, so here's the connection point under your 003, and the volume that was accrued in Europe and European banks up to your IRC that got you a UK or European check now flows back to where you connected in the US, and it flows up from that point, everybody in between getting credit, causing you to earn on your 002. Okay, so the BV under the IRC2 accrues towards the earning of the IRC2 and is converted into American BV at the connection point in the home country America, and the BV IBV accrues up towards earning commissions in your 002 and 001. Okay, so you can see the green arrow goes across, you the money bags over the IRC1 you earned in Europe. Okay, and now that volume is going to flow up at the connection point, everybody getting credit for it until you earn on your 002. And if you need it for your 001, it's there too.
Same exact process.
Exactly.
Same exact process.
It's not really not that complicated
Right.
when you get it.
Right.
Okay, so here's some important facts and tips on unification with IRCs. The Global Unified MPCP gives everyone a reason to build in both regions and to find people. And everyone has a home country and a home region, which is the root and foundation of their business. And it allows lower level distributors to complete their weak leg in the BDC of their home country while building a new business center in another region to earn a second check with the support of their senior partners, which they wouldn't have otherwise had. That's a biggie. And distributors are actually getting a double whammy as the BV is counting towards 2 commissions. And it works from both directions, America to Europe and Europe to America, just like we showed with Tom in the example. So the same strategy presented for America home country UFOs into Europe works for European distributors in America. Both can cross-pollinate into the other region and connect it back to the home country, weak leg, to complete a BDC and earn both in the new region and their home country BDC, speeding up the securing and the completion of the 001 and 002 and 003 BDCs. But the thing that's hard to grasp is when it works both ways with multiple people, it's like a generator, okay? And it just has a compounding effect to make it happen much faster. And this couldn't happen before. It was impossible. So the more UFOs from each region cross-pollinating and using their IRCs, the more synergy is created, creating a compounding effect of volume up your organization lines where it's needed to complete centers. But it's just not you. It's other people doing it for their own interest. And this can accelerate the completion of the 2 to 3 year plan considerably. So there's this zippering thing that I'm talking about, Andrew. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's powerful. It's amazing. You want to build in your home state, and you sponsor somebody in London, and the person in London hardly does anything, but they find somebody else back in your home state who tears it up.
Right.
Happens all the time. You know, zippering is a powerful common phenomena that can accelerate growth dramatically. Zippering is when a UFO cross-pollinates from home country into another region with an IRC, and then someone sponsored under that IRC in that country that he's building in does the same back to your home region with their IRC and sponsors UFOs and builds in your home region. And it zippers back and forth. It can happen again and again and again. And this can repeat multiple times back and forth zippering and can multiply the BV and the number of UFOs in a line rapidly and have a compounding effect, earning checks in both regions very rapidly. An interesting phenomenon is if I have somebody here that knows somebody in London, it's very likely that the person in London, because they were connected with somebody here, knows somebody back here.
Absolutely.
And you find that happening all the time. It's really intriguing. So high levels of participation will drive a surge of volume because of the synergy that's created. The Global Unified MPCP allows distributors to work in a leg that their upline is working, which is weak in the home country, but it's going to be strong in the new region. And so they have an incentive to build it. However, they can connect it back to the weak side of the lower level distributor in the other country, which may not be the same for the upline. The upline has his economic motive and the downline has his economic motive, but here they're merged so both of them succeed.
Right.
I mean, normally when a distributor's building in the same leg with the upline, one side gets built, which becomes very strong for both, and then the lower level distributor has a weak leg that the BV or IBV from one leg will not help. Okay, so here the lower level distributor can connect it back to benefit the weak leg where they need it to earn BV and IBV checks, but the actual building is going on in the upline strong leg. Amazing, miraculous. So everything should meet. Everybody should meet with their group to develop strategies and collective network and get referrals to find business partners in other regions, encourage sponsors in other regions to cross-pollinate and find people back in their home country. And again, this will all be covered again on the PowerPoint webinar and Meet On, which you can access there. Now, there's one question left, and I know the mind can only absorb what the rear end can endure, and we're about there. But what happens when other UFOs in your home country organization do the same thing that you've done and place IRCs in a new region? Now, you want them to cross-pollinate, but how do you get credit? Now, think about what you learned already. You earn on your IRC, and you earn back in the home country where that connects back to your BDCs. But they're going over, and they're not under your IRC. Right. Well, the Global Unified MPCP allows UFOs to use BV in other regions to accelerate the completion of earning legs in their home country while expanding in the new region to earn twice from what they built. So now we need a way to, that incentive for you is the same incentive for them, so they're probably going to do it.
Right.
So what happens? Let's take a look. So this is how the BV accrued on UFOs in your home country organization that come in after your center IRC number 1 is already placed and are above you or in the opposite leg. Also, UFOs with global centers that may already be there prior to you placing your IRC. Now, you didn't think of that, did you? Phil Guido did, though. But at any rate, you must complete your BDC at the home country first, because that was the reason we were doing it.
Right.
And then the BV can flow back to the UGC banks in the region where the BV originated from under your IRC. And it can count again. So it counted for your IRC, it's counting for your BDCs in the US, and then it can count again. Of course, you need 2 legs. So this is only relevant when you have a second IRC yourself or other people are doing it.
Put their IRCs in.
So the volume accrues back into your UGC banks above the IRC in the new region, Europe, counting to earn on your IRCs and other UFOs in your group with IRCs placed in the new region. So let's see exactly how it flows. You complete your BDC at home, and then the extra volume that you didn't need to complete that flows back to the UGC in the new region. The BV originating in the region from the IRC counts again in the UGC. So the volume accrues into your home country BDCs 001 to 003 first to complete them. And then it accrues to complete your home country BDC. And once the BDC is over 5,000 from the home country, and that would include converted IRC BV from Europe and the volume, the BV is being generated in the America, in the home country, and it's combined BV. The extra BV then accrues back to the UGC, counting to earn a third time on other UFOs in your group and your IRCs in the new region. And if the home country BDCs are already over 5,000, with home country BV, if it's already a completed leg that you're earning on, well, or if there's several UFOs with IRCs accruing over 5,000 and that's coming back, it's not an issue. You're already over 5,000, so it all goes back to the UGC. So you get credit on other UFOs cross-pollinating this way, and this kind of shows how it happens. Okay, so first you see how the IRC and the regional unification works from your single perspective. Next, you must understand how the unification and regional cross-pollination works for your organization. What happens when there's many UFOs doing it? What happens when they do it in a new region and it's not under your IRC? How do you get credit? And here it is. Okay, so this is how BVs accrued on UFOs in your own organization. They come from your center IRC one above you, or in the opposite leg. So we're building over here on the right. It's being built out. You have these people in your home country, America, that want to do it too. Okay, so the red arrows here indicate where they place their IRCs in Europe, just like you. And if we just follow through on this, you see this yellow triangle is capturing or surrounding the IRCs that people placed from your home country that are in your organization in Europe that aren't under your IRCs. Okay, so E over here, if you look at it, has placed an IRC to team up with you, and this happens to fall under your IRC 001 on the right side at the very bottom. That's a good strategy.
Absolutely.
So you don't need to worry about that one because it's going to roll up to your IRC 1 and you're going to get paid. But what about the other ones? Okay, the blue arrows indicate where UFOs from your home organization placed IRCs in the new region. And you can see that C, D, and F are not under you. And how are you going to get paid on them? Well, they're going to connect them back to, for the same reason you did, to their weak leg. They're earning in Europe. They're going to earn in the U.S. by completing a leg.
Right.
And this shows that connection. Okay, so that accrual has an effect on you too. When they earn in Europe and they earn in America, you do benefit from that because it's completing legs for other people below you that they have a secure business. And if you're not earning every single week, well, it affects your the frequency of your payout.
Sure.
But now you're going to earn on them again in Europe. So let's take a look at what happens. The BV, as you can see, rolls up, as it always does in your American organization, okay, all the way up both sides to your 001, and everybody in between benefits. And then when all of that BV goes back from all of their IRCs, there's multiple IRCs accumulating up the left and the right side to your 001 or 002 or 003. It's very quickly over 5,000, and the converted BV and IBV over 5,000 flows back to your UGC. So take notice that when there's multiple UFOs cross-pollinating, with you and converting volume, combined volume multiplies and exceeds 5,000 very quickly. Sometimes it's already over 5,000. Sometimes you already have over 5,000. So it's just like the volume went straight up to the UGC to earn again. So follow how the BV accrues in a region and connects back to the home country and then flows back to the UGC. This is a beautiful thing. And just kind of watch it. You have your other builders placing IRCs in America, and then the volume is flowing up in your IRCs, and then your IRCs and everybody else's connects back to the America, and you can see the BV rolling up the blue arrows to the 001. It connects and fills up the 001. It could be the 002 or 003 also. And then when it's over 5,000, goes back to the UGC for you to earn again on all of those IRCs that were under you.
Pretty incredible.
Paying you again. So remember, a UFO must be a coordinator in the home country first and be approved by the company to collect on the UGCs. They earn on the IRCs and complete the BDCs. This happens automatically. In other words, if you build it, you're going to be over 12 and 12 anyway, and a coordinator. Okay, only when a BDC 01 exceeds 5,000 unified BV, which is a home country and converted BV combined, does the Europe portion of it accrue back to the UGC for you to earn again. So you never have American volume going over. You may not need all the European volume to complete it at 5,000, okay? Whatever you need is used and the rest goes back. So first, you and your UFOs accrued and earned on IRCs in the new region, and at the same time accrued the BV to the home country or America to finish weak legs. And then you completed or maxed out your 001 and 003, which was the objective, and then it guarantees that you have a solid business, in your home country that you started. Then after it's converted and fills the banks to 5,000 as needed, it's automatically, you don't need to track it, it automatically flows back to the UGC banks to earn another global check on your UFOs. And that would be, in this case, a European check, a UK check, it would be in their currency. And the IRCs, all of your UFOs that have cross-pollinated with IRCs in other regions, you're now earning on. And the process can be duplicated again in your 002 and 003, which would pay your UGC 002 and 003. So you could potentially earn 3 UGC checks there per week. So in this example, your IRC number 1, this example right here, IRC number 2 and the UFOs in your organization C, D, and F would be filling in your UGC banks 001, 002, and 003. 003 is about a half filled on the right side and the left side. So your banks are already well filled up, and all that European converted BV is going to go right back to UGCs for you to earn on them. So the UGC is filled after you and your UFOs earn twice, once on the IRC and once on the home BDC. As a result of the UFOs completing BDCs at home, you benefit at home by earning more and being secure. That was the objective, to complete what you already had. Well, then as a result, you earn again on the UGCs a third time. And the more UFOs on your team that cross-pollinate, and the faster this happens. So when everybody's doing it, it kind of explodes. So let's see how the IRCs and converted BV and home country BV work together to complete the BDCs and pay you, and then earn on the UGCs. Okay, so once the unification process again of cross-pollinating with the IRCs, connecting the BV to home country, then completing the home country BDCs, and then earning on the UGCs. You build solid and you earn 3 ways. Just watch the flow. Okay, so you see it connecting back from our own IRCs, and each one of them has a money bag. They're now earning money, and it rolls all the way up to the 001 you earn there, and there it crosses over to your UGC, and you earn again there. Just remember that in order to have that happen, you have to be a coordinator and first fill your 001 with 1,200 and 1,200 at least. And this is a test program that's based on accrual. It's a new thing, and we're going to we're very confident that there's going to be no actuarial issues, but we're just telling you that this is an experiment that we're sure is going to work, but the math has to reconcile itself, and we're very sure it will. But that doesn't affect the IRCs or the home country BDCs. So here are the details on the steps to global unification for documentation purposes. As an example, if the BDC is already over 5,000 home country BV, all of the converted IRC BV would be simultaneously transferred directly and accrued to the UGC banks to earn immediately. If in a week the BDC was at 3,000, Andrew, and the home country BV that would be needed would be 2,000, there was 5,000 converted from the IRC accruing, then only 2,000 is needed, so 2,000 of the 5,000 converted BV would be credited to the BDC to complete it to reach 5,000. The balance then of 3,000 would flow back to the UGC. Right. So only IRC converted volume above a combined volume of 5,000 BV per week is accrued back to the UGC. And the home country volume is never transferred back to the UGC. And if there is over 5,000 BV per week from the home country, then all the converted BV and IRC volume is accrued back to the UGC automatically, just like it was going straight up. So the more UFOs and IRCs in your organization, the more converted BV there is exceeding 5,000 to complete the BDCs. And then the excess converted BV would all accrue back to the UGCs to earn from the UGC commissions again. Pretty powerful. So the steps to global unification, again, the bottom line that you have to think in terms of not just this one, but there's 3 of them: the Americas, and Europe, and Asia. You'd basically have 3 banks. Each one of them has several countries in it that are all combined into one BV bank, and then we connect between the different regions.
And you don't have to worry about it. The system knows. The system knows, and it knows, if you've exceeded that business volume at 5,000, the extra will go back.
Right,
to
you don't have to track it.
You have to
That's
track
a beautiful
anything.
thing about it. That was my big concern when we were creating it, because it was the only solution. And so, Joe came up with that. Well, we can just automatically trigger it, so it's immediately going back. So that's a beautiful thing.
Right.
Okay, so again, you can re-access all of this and on the PowerPoint and the webinar, or go to the Meet On seminars. Here's the documentation. The UGC stands for a Universal Global Center. The UGC and the Global Unified MPCP replaces a formal Global Center. Right. Now it doesn't have, it does not have the entry barriers of the Global Center of purchasing another country subscription, qualifying for the Global Center with 200 BV, and activating with 2 distributors in the country again. That all goes away, so you might as well try it. Right. All right, so the Global Center with 200 BV is qualified. The UGC is the 3rd step in the process, and it's not necessary, Andrew, to start cross-pollinating and building with the IRC and placement. You don't even need to worry about that in the beginning. Right. It's kind of like the business. When re-entries become important, you know about them. But in the beginning, you really don't understand them. So the 001 and 003 positions in the new region, Genealogy, are reserved and designated as UGCs, and they are not turned on until they're needed and the first 2 steps have been completed. So those UGCs, when you qualify your IRC, become reserved for that later collection. And so what happens is an IRC must be placed and be actively built in the new target region, with BV accruing and UFOs from the country region actively building under the IRC. You put some people in. The IRC must be qualified with 200 BV and accumulating BV from the region it's placed. Then secondly, the BV from the IRC must be connected back to the home country and accumulating BV into the home country MPCP up to the top centers in the genealogy for the UFOs placing the IRC and whose name is on the reserved UGCs. Right. So that's just to make sure it's a real person, and that they're really building. So the objective is to be accruing the new region BV and IRC toward earning commissions in the new region first, and then accruing the BV into the home country to complete the 001, 003, and starting to earn weekly checks and maxing that center out. Right. The UFO must initiate an online request to turn on the UGC and must be approved by the company and meet the minimum requirements. So it happens automatically, okay, if they've met those requirements. But if they want the second one and third one to happen, they have to notify the company. I'm ready for my number 2. I'm ready for my number 3. Kind of like you do with a re-entry anyway. Right. And the UFO must initiate. Okay, so the rules can be accessed at the website. Mm-hmm. They're in the career manual, and the minimum requirements are to complete step 1 and 2 above, and the UFO must have qualified as a coordinator at least once in the BDC 001, 002, or 003, for which they want the corresponding UGC to start accumulating volume. They had to have done 1,200 and 1,200, which they should have anyway.
It'll happen.
Okay, so the volume is transferred from the BDCs 001, 002, 003 that the IRC volume is accruing into once a week, not every day. How could you do it? You need to know if it's over 5,000.
Right, so that's what
okay?
you do.
To the corresponding UGC 001, 002, 003, and the beginning of the next week, you begin with the accumulated amount of BV in the UGC for commission purposes. And if the UGC reaches a MPCP bracket on each side, it'll pay the corresponding commission that week, the same way it does weekly in the MPCP from the home country. It's a pretty important thing to know.
Yep.
BV is accumulated daily in the IRCs and in all countries and BDCs in the MPCP, just like it is at home. The new volume accumulated in the IRC is transferred to the connection point in the home country as converted home country BV daily to show the following business day in the home country. And the converted BV from the IRC is treated as home country BV once it is transferred to the BDC at the connection point, and will combine with the home country BV to accumulate up through every BDC in the genealogy line, as it always does in the MPCP, to the top BDCs 001 and 002. So it's same as the regular plan.
Sure.
Okay, so you know, there's an old saying, devil's in the details. Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't know the details, you might miss something, but the devil's really in the concept. The concept don't work, forget the details.
In this case, the concept works.
The concept works, so you better know the details.
And that's why we're providing this information.
So when the combined BV exceeds 5,000 in a weekly cycle, the BV over 5,000 that originated in the IRC's IBV from the new region is transferred and accumulated back into the originating region's UGC banks. So it goes back to where it basically came from at the top. And this is done weekly, and the accumulated UGC BV is what the week starts with. Commissions will be calculated according to the BV scale and paid weekly. So from the last week, you're getting all that BV from the completion of the 001 coming back, and you start the week with that. Oh, I got 3,000 and 2,000. You know what you need for the following week in order to hit. So the remaining volume and commissions shall remain in the UGC, and whatever transfer is made from the home country 001, 002, 003, as just described above, will be added to the accumulated BV again, and commissions calculated and paid weekly. So you're basically running from the end of last week, you're starting with that at the beginning of this week, and that's what's going to determine your commission.
Right.
Okay, so when Asia is included in the global unified MPCP, every UFO will have 3 banks. You get that, right?
Yep. Oh, so yeah, the 3, just like we discussed in the very beginning, the three regions, the Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. So the Unified Global Center has those 3 banks to capture the volume from those 3 regions.
So it's always your home country and 2 of the others.
Right.
Two that are not your home country.
Right.
Right. So let's look at the Global Unified MPCP cross-pollination and IRC to connect regions from your perspective. Now you want to come back to focus. I know we've been going for a while with the details, but how does it work for you? This is kind of interesting because it simplifies it and it kind of recaps, just looking from your point of view, not the whole organization and what happens with other UFOs and you know, all the various synergies and combinations. So every distributor with an application and paid subscription receives 3 home country business development centers or BDCs. That's where that's already passed.
Right.
1 international re-entry center. So when people come in, they also have an IRC. Not only everybody that's already in but everybody new that comes in from this day forward. And then they have the right to designate one personal BDC 01, 02, 03 as a unified global center according to the rules, which we just went over.
It'll more than likely be their 01.
Right. Almost always is. So to turn on the UGC, to accrue BV from IRCs and BDCs, you must first qualify as a coordinator in the home country. Americans have accumulated 1,200 BV on both sides. But that doesn't affect you getting started with an IRC.
By the time you're going to turn the UGC on, you'll more than likely
have already done that.
Right.
So let's take a look at it from one distributor perspective that may not have a giant organization. Each BDC can earn up to $3,600 per week from the business volume generated by distributor sales reps from their left and right organizations. Okay, and so we're able then to place an IRC on the weak leg, which is pretty obvious to you. And you place IRC in the home country, distributors that are in the weak side of your BDC that you're trying to get paid on weekly, all will get credit for that.
Right.
And so that volume, as you can see, flows up, just like it does on the other side, but you've added to it. And the BDC can be placed anywhere within the organization of your BDC 001, provided the placement is in accordance with the downline rules, okay? And it can earn $2,100 per week. Well, actually it can earn $3,600 when IBV is added in the next month or so. So the IRC needs to be activated in order to earn on the red centers here, but then it flows up to your weak side 001 or 02 to earn there. So you can see the arrows going up, and the BDC can be placed and then qualified with 200 BV either from America or Europe and begin accruing BV from the MPCP at any time. The UGC can earn $3,600 a week from respective other people in the region, and the BDC must be activated in the region to earn on the IRC. You have to have two people sponsored. So real simple, there it goes up, and as we've already studied, later on you can also earn on that UGC. And remember that you're actually placing that IRC in a different country with a different bank, and it's earning in that different bank, but it connects back to where you need it and converts to American BV, and you're earning there. So this is an interesting summary. The placement and growth of the BV under the IRC leverages a maximum payout in the following ways. You get paid on your home country, because even if you only had one leg, that's speeding up to complete your weak leg at the top. You're getting paid then in the IRC if you build two legs, and there goes the volume up. You see how it flows. Okay, and here's an interesting strategy, Andrew, that hundreds of people have experienced. You locate an abandoned or dormant re-entry BDC that's under you, and one of your best business builders is probably in that line, and you were hoping that it would get built down the other line, but it never did. So you have this dormant.
So you have a re-entry in your organization. One side of it is developed, but you're not earning on it.
Right.
Because you're focused on developing the business
Nobody
elsewhere.
ever built the other side.
The other side's
you had a plan to, but it just didn't work out.
Correct.
So you could place that IRC on the weak side of that. Being that that's valuable real estate in a way, because it's a solid leg on one side, by connecting it there, you're going to earn on it, but it may be under your weak BDC at the top that you're trying to complete.
Great
in
scenario.
that case, you would earn, twice, and this basically shows it first completing that dangling or dormant or abandoned re-entry. It now is a strong center earning. You earned in Europe, you earned there, and you complete the center at the top. And there's one more thing you can do. You're in London building, and you have another builder that has a similar situation or needs to complete a leg. You tell them, come on with me, we'll work together, we'll hold meetings together, we'll build together in combinations. Well, being that you have somebody that built an IRC on the right and you built one on the left, that would cause your UGC in the end to earn 2. So that's a pretty powerful situation. When it goes all the way up and it's completed, you're going to also not only get paid on your home country, not only get paid in the IRC, but you're going to get paid on the UGC at the very, very top because of another IRC being built while you're working combinations. So
ultimately, there's going to be a lot of really interesting scenarios and strategies, but at the end of the day, it enables you to grow in another region, benefit the weak side of a business development center in your home region, and also capitalize from the UGC as well. Right. Multiple times
and when you include a dangling reentry, it's 4 times. Without that, it's 3 times, but it's still powerful anyway you look at it. So to wrap up, I've got to say, don't worry about understanding all this today. Isn't that what I say at the end of the plan?
Same close, yes.
You know, it really is like the UBP or the MPCP. You didn't understand it all the first time. It took probably at least 3 times. Light bulbs kept going off. You realized things that you didn't the first time. You didn't really get it all then, you know, until you actually did it. When you started doing it, it started to make sense. And you showed the plan, or maybe you even had to earn a check before it really made sense. But you didn't really understand balancing. You didn't understand placement of volume downstream and how it affected things. You didn't understand the leverage principle necessarily in supervisory entry, right. You know, or how requirements really solidified the plan. And you certainly didn't understand reentry in the beginning. You understood the next step, though. You know, the next step became very obvious as we proceeded in the business. You knew you needed to qualify the center, and then you knew you needed to activate. You needed to get 2 people, right? And then you needed more in a weaker leg because one got ahead of the other. And later on, you know, as the business grew, you realized the importance of placing extra volume downline. The benefit of 2 solid legs completes half of the O2 and 003. Right. And wow, then reentry. Sure glad they didn't leave that out. I didn't understand it back then, but now it's allowing someone to become an Elizabeth Weber or whatever. Well, the same thing happens here. And your upline senior partner, mentor, leader, director will understand it and put you on a team and explain everything. You know, they have a big financial incentive now to do that. They have a reason to do that. Maybe before they didn't, you don't think they're going to do it. You watch, they're going to be getting together with you.
Game.
So there's a webinar and a link, you know, for this presentation, and we supply that. And so this isn't the last time you've heard about this. But here's what you do know. Here's what you do know. You consider these things that you should know. First, you're stuck. You're stuck at the same place too long. You're in a rut. You got the same group, the same people, the same routine in your life, the same meetings going on, same faces, and same people around you that would be your possible prospects, your warm circle of influence, and they all know what you're doing, and they're all mentally constipated, and nothing's changing. Isn't that the way it is for a lot of people? You know, same volume every month, every week. Same customers, same BV. Steady, pretty solid, okay, but you need to grow. And you need to complete a leg or a BDC. Now, is this reality or is it not?
To a lot of people.
A lot of people, right. I mean, you need new people, that's the bottom line. New circles of influence, new blood, new volume. You need a fresh start, you need a breakthrough. You know, and let's face reality. If you haven't figured it out by now, figure it out by now. No one's going to put people in your weak leg. You know, maybe you're halfway there. The best builders and leaders are not going to build your weak legs for you. Yep. They're busy building their own. You can plug in, and they might do a meeting for you. But leaders or upline builders can help you build a leg in Europe or another region where they'll earn, and you can use the BV and the UFOs for your weak leg and complete and earn there fast. Just like when you started in the business, they're going to be all over it and you're working as a team. So the BV, this is what you need to know. The BV and what you build can count 2 to 4 times for you to earn 2 to 4 times as much in the time it would take you to build one leg at home with no help. Yeah. And here you're going to have help. Plus everyone gets credit in the line, putting them closer to earning too, and kind of stirring them to action is kind of like a catalyst. And you can use your team to find people, and they will earn in the leg that they need to earn in. So your own people have the same incentive, and they can connect it back where they need. It gives a reason to do it. Now, people in Europe will lead to people in America to work with and light a fire in the basement in your business. A zippering can explode your growth, and you can complete the 2 to 3 year plan much faster, maybe half the time, working smarter rather than harder. So the questions to ask, we're asking, evaluating a strategy to benefit of inter-regional cross-pollination. Is this for you? These are the questions that should be asked. Is anyone in your upline, your senior partners above you in the genealogy, cross-pollinating in another region with an IRC? Ask them, because you don't want to miss that opportunity.
Sure.
Okay? Is anyone on your team downstream in your organization placing a cross-pollinating with and use their IRC in Europe? You don't want to lose the benefit of that volume. Okay? Does anyone in your organization travel to Europe and work business, vacations, or any other reason? Do you or your team have relatives there, know people there, have connections there? And now think about this. They do not need to do business, but they may know the right people. They don't need to get into business. We're not looking to get them in. We're looking for somebody that might connect us. So do you have a way of identifying people in the UK or Spain that may be able to help you identify the people that would be interested or know someone who is connected?
And an interesting point here. We know now that you have the incentive to earn, you can earn from your home country from having just one person sponsored in a new region. Sometimes just asking people in your circle of influence who they know, say in London or in Spain or another region, sometimes it stimulates their curiosity about you growing some international business, and sometimes enables them to become interested in the business and their colleague.
But they would never do that in your hometown, or they would never do that
right.
with somebody next door. It is amazing. It's just people respond totally differently, and it intrigues them.
Right.
Do you have a way of identifying people in UK or Spain? Okay, and if they do, they could benefit from it too.
Sure.
I'm going to give them the opportunity to get in if it ends up panning out,
of course.
In other words. But who do you know in networking or in internet-related businesses or financial services or website sales or hosting? Why are we mentioning that? Because in the European markets, we found major leaders that are coming on board that identify that we have a competitive advantage over what's going on over there, and there's a big influx of people. So that's a great target. And do you know anyone who you know that knows someone who was with City Solutions, Linus, or similar companies? Same reason. These people are looking for a home. And ask all partners, customers, friends, family, relatives, people at work, who they know in the UK or Spain. And what you just said happens. Their ears perk up. And the reason is, and I have it in red for a reason, you are expanding your business there. That kind of creates a basis for them helping you and for a discussion and a conversation about it. So describe what you're looking for from the examples above, or say that you need someone who knows the right people, who may know the connectors, and you'll be surprised at how many people give you names or try to help you out, but they wouldn't do it at home. So do you need help building a weak leg? And are you in a strong leg on one side but need to stimulate things on the weak side? So many people are in this position. You do not have to go to Europe to cross-pollinate. You can start by referring. It's, if it grows, it may make sense to go there. But if you refer, if what you refer in Europe has contacts back in the US, zippering can happen and you can support building here. And if your upline or downline is committed to building or referring people in the same lineage or genealogy line on a common side to you, and show and show the plan and build, then you have a weak side off of the common strong leg. You can build in Europe like you were building your weak side, but you're building in a strong leg with somebody else for them.
Right, it's unique
so
strategy.
It's just an amazing situation. So that can change everything for you. And do you have a common weak side leg, someone upline or downline, in other words, you're both in a weak leg, that has prospects there or that is going to build on the same side, and you need to put people and volume in? Well, I would join that team immediately and get over there, because it's going to make a difference for you. And you have a re-entry that's dangling, like in the example that we showed, that's dormant or abandoned, because by placing the center there from Europe on the weak side, you have solidified a earning position that wasn't earning before, and that can also feed up above. So you would build the business together there. So many people are asleep on this one, Andrew. What about the unified region I'm in, and what countries within my unified region with my home country that I can combine BV in the same MPCP? And this applies to Asia, America, Europe, also between UK and Spain. It applies to all the countries that we're currently in within the regions, plus the EMPs. So in Asia, you have Taiwan, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, and the EMPs. I'd be looking to find people in those areas, Philippines, Singapore, and soon soon China. In Americas, you have United States, Canada, Mexico, and all the new EMPs in South America, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Ecuador, Costa Rica. And the BV is all in one bank and accrues to complete your home country center. So, for example, there's 55 million Hispanic Americans, 30 million Mexican Americans. And they all have family, friends, and contacts in Mexico or South America. All the UFOs in Mexico and South America in turn have family and contacts back in the United States. And you can start with Mexico and the US, and you can use the EMP countries. But you organize your teams to do this. You find you need them to meet and do it together. This cross-pollination type of campaign can all of a sudden light things up. Zippering happens. You can use the Partner Now program in the waiting room to sign them up remotely. You use the NMTSS, the UPBs, the meeton.com, and combinations with Upline to support in Mexico and US. So the same thing can be done in Asia, same thing can be done in UK and Spain now, and the referral technique, beating the bushes, and asking questions can turn things around almost overnight. Because all those people in the US that are Latinos or Hispanics that came from another country or their parents did, they have the connections. And so at the end of the day, what do?
Just do it.
Do what? Well, do it now. Set a goal and run a contest or a challenge. Everyone get 2 prospects through this methodology. And then in a region or country that you have a team, everyone get 2 referrals or prospects to approach. The senior partners will help you and show you what to do. And if you lead a team of 10 UFOs, if you have 10 people in your group, that gives you 20 leads in the funnel to work. That alone could be a game changer, could change the tide for you. So at the end of the day, this all works. You may not understand it all, but the economic power behind it to benefit you is immense. So my recommendation is just do it. You'll figure it out later. Lead by example if you're a leader by doing it, and what you set in motion carries in motion, and you'll find that within 6 months to a year, you're in a totally different position. Now you're having fun because you're earning big money and it's duplicating in your group and everybody is growing like mad. So let's go out and make it happen.